Okay, Garage joins us. Of course, he is right there on the grounds there in Florida at those league meetings. Got Bart, Tim Hasselbeck joins us. All right, Garage, since you're right there on the ground, what more can you tell us about what Mike Tomlin had to say there?
Yeah, they're really not in a hurry. The Steelers really don't have like a pivot that has any urgency to it, right? If Aaron Rodgers tells them no, is Carson Wentz or Joe Flacco going to be that much better than Mason Rudolph? You know, so they're not going to push Aaron Rodgers for an answer for fear that will make the answer no. So they'll give him the time that he needs. It doesn't seem like he has another option out there other than retirement, so they're not worried about losing him to another team. Little nitty-gritty kind of inside baseball thing here, but if they wait until the Tuesday after the draft, so 4 weeks from tomorrow, signing Aaron Rodgers would not hurt them in the compensatory draft pick formula. They'd be able to pick up some extra draft picks in the 2026 draft. That could be part of the calculation as well now. It could be part of the delay. But Aaron Rodgers weighing Steelers versus retirement, I guess, and the Steelers looking at quarterbacks in the draft regardless of what happens there.
Okay, Tim, give me your thoughts on not only what you heard from Mike Tomlin, but what do you think is going through Aaron Rodgers' mind?
Yeah, well, I think what we heard from Mike Tomlin is, look, we're interested in him, but we're not moving heaven and earth for him, which is really consistent with what they've said all offseason. They wanted to re-sign Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. They weren't able to do either of those things, so they turned to the next level of free agency, which is definitely not a priority. And then I think from Aaron Rodgers' perspective, because there's not going to be money that, protects him from other people on the roster being his eventual replacement, he probably wants to see if they're drafting somebody. And if they draft a quarterback in the first round, then it most likely is not a scenario where he wants to go be the starting quarterback. Think of what happened in Atlanta last year, and Kirk Cousins had signed a massive contract. So I think Aaron Rodgers is probably trying to protect the situation that he goes into. And so he's going to be patient with it. And then as for the Steelers, look, I think they may hang around and figure out if they do, in fact, get someone in the first round they like.
Go ahead, Gross.
Yeah, I did ask Mike Tomlin directly this morning, has that come up? Yeah, your plans in the draft as a team at quarterback, has that come up in your conversations with Aaron Rodgers or in his deliberations? And Tomlin's answer was, we have not discussed that at all. So take that for what it's worth.
I don't see how that's a factor. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to be 42 years old. I don't see how them bringing in somebody for the future is a non-negotiable for a guy like him. He has to understand, even if you go get a first-round draft pick, typically they can wait a year, or his last replacement that came in waited 3 years. He waited 3 years. So I don't see where that would be a deterrent. The reality is that he's going to a place that he doesn't have to project getting them to the playoffs. They've done that. They got that part covered. They need somebody when they face another quarterback on the other sideline that can be Himothy. He can step up and he can get them over the top. And there are worse places to be and worse weapons to throw to than Fairmouth, DK Metcalf, and Pickens. So I think that's a great spot. I think he's just waiting. I think he's maybe holding on to this Minnesota pipe dream. The fact that maybe Minnesota and their brass may say, hey, listen, we have an opportunity to win a championship. They went all in the defensive line, offensive line, and you're putting a lot of faith in a rookie quarterback.
I want you guys to take a listen to something, because Raider star Max Crosby had this to say about Aaron Rodgers' future.
I think he retires. The fact that I think that he's not with Devontae and he's not very familiar with Pittsburgh, I don't know. I feel like he retires. He's about 42 now. I feel like that makes sense, him going to the Steelers, and I think they need a quarterback. They need a guy who's a vet, proven dude. But I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't see that as a thing. I can't see him in a Pittsburgh uniform.
I see your face. Why?
Because you see him in a New York Jets uniform. Like, what are you talking about? Devontae Adams wasn't there initially. I mean, listen, to try to predict what Aaron Rodgers is thinking will drive you insane. So just pump your brakes, Max. I understand you got a podcast, brother, but nah, you don't try and predict Aaron Rodgers. Nobody can.
And in Mike Tomlin's case there, Graz, I guess makes you sweat as well. Give me your thoughts. What'd you hear from Max Crosby?
Yeah, it's hot here.
Yeah, we see that forehead, Graz. We got to get that powder on you, baby.
Yeah, a little toasty. Max Crosby joins the long list of people who are much more comfortable speculating on Aaron Rodgers' mindset than I am, and I don't I don't feel like playing in that arena is very safe or productive. I think Aaron Rodgers will do what he does on his timetable. I would not be surprised if he played for the Steelers this year. I would not be surprised if he never played again. It's going to be up to him to decide what he wants to do. He's a surefire Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. If he walked away right now, he'd do so with nothing left to prove. He also is a guy that's cognizant of the history of the game and how quarterbacks are perceived. And he knows that winning more than one championship does put you into a little bit of an extra tier. So that's been on his mind the last few years. The question is whether Pittsburgh is the place where he can accomplish that.
Tim, final word.
I think, listen, the idea of playing somewhere else, that can't be the thing. Like Montana played for the Chiefs, Brady for the Bucks, Peyton for the Broncos, it happens. And so that to me isn't a factor. What's a factor is whether Aaron Rodgers, to Dan's point about, the legacy and how he goes out and can he have success. Look, it was misery at the Jets. It just was. That was not the plan for him, at least in his mind. And that's why, that's why I feel the way I do about the draft. Drafting a quarterback high, first or early second round, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to go into that situation where everyone's always talking about replacing him because of who they've just drafted. He wants them to invest into guys that can help him play well late in his career in Pittsburgh if he's in fact going to go there.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll go from the field to the court because coming up, Duke, well, they're counting on Cooper. Will the Blue Devils star carry them all the way to the national title? Our Seth Greenberg says, you know what, not so fast. He's going to explain that when we come back here on Get Up.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng của mình hôm nay sẽ có tiêu đề là cú mèo. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là cú lợn. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha. Đây là màu vàng nha. Đây là màu vàng nha. Cái đấy sẽ là màu hồng.
Khỏe ra.
Khỏe thì khỏe được.
Không thấy đâu, chắc lắm. Nó cao hơn cả cái này.
Đúng rồi, cái ô tô nó cao hơn.